How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Right on. So, who are you with?
I'm with Burn It Dow. Also, our larger company is called Evil Plan.
Okay, and what is that?
We're doing generative AI sports. Here, we're doing Burn It Dow. It's one of our a game in our portfolio. It's basically a blockchain-driven game show.
Okay, can you get a little more in detail about that?
Yeah, so basically what you're doing when you come to the game show, you're purchasing contestants. We currently have two different contracts out, one with 16,384 contestants, another one with 8,192. And after you purchase your contestants, you kind of wait. Once it mints out, the game will start. And what you're trying to do is save your tokens. At the end of the game, there's only one token standing, and it's done in multiple rounds, but that one token that stands at the end will be entered into an exclusive DAO. It's the only, after the first game, it'll actually be the only one, and it'll be prize money. So for this contract, you're looking at $3.5 million. For our other contract, it's at about $216,000.
And can you get more in detail about like the statistics with your game related?
Yeah. So as you saw with 16,284, you really have like, if you purchase one token, you have a 1 in 16,384 chance of winning that prize money. The more tokens you buy, the lower that gets. One of the cool game mechanics is that we pause between rounds, and so after every round, you're guaranteed to have at least half of the tokens are going to be gone and burned. So these NFTs are getting destroyed, right? So after 16,000, you're going to be down to 8,000 and some odd change of tokens. So the value of that token, because that money is there and it's all in the contract, so the value of that token actually doubles at the end of every round. But in between those rounds, you have the ability to actually put it on the market and sell it, right? So you might feel like, I don't have the stomach to go past round 6 or 7. My token costs maybe at this point $10,000. I can make my money back and then some. I can put it on the market and sell it to someone else who wants to buy into the game. There might be a point where you hit, around 11, and that token's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, particularly in this game. And there might be someone who's going to come in and be like, hey, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until those tokens are worth that much more, because now I'm saying I can buy in for 100,000 and have, say, a 1 in 32 chance of winning this game. So, it's kind of just centers around where you're feeling in the game. So we think that game mechanic adds something special to it. The entire contract's everything's on the blockchain within the contract. The entire game show is coded into it. It's been audited. We got an amazing result on our audit. There are no external calls out of the contract. We think it's pretty cool technology. We think it'll be a fun game to play. We're excited to actually mint out our first contract to see if we can, so people can actually experience what it's like.
What kind of stands out with what you just mentioned is the transparency,
right.
And the statistics like that you mentioned. Can you maybe get kind of in more detail about that?
That's what we wanted. Once we release that contract, it's we can't do anything. We can't do anything with it, right?
Yeah.
And as far as when you're talking about that kind of money, and I think trust in the mints and all that, it's nice to be able to have that transparency. You can play this game through the contract itself. We provide a thin interface to make it work, but you can play the contract through. You can see everything that's happening. You can look through the code. It's all there. Everything's on there. So there's there's no oracles. There's nothing that it's calling out to that can affect the game. If I chose to play, there's nothing. There's no. I'm just like everybody else.
Yeah. I can't thank you enough for your time that you've
absolutely.
taken. And where would these people go to maybe sign up?
It's at burnitdow.xyz.
Okay.
And from there, you can access both contracts. You can attach a wallet and get some tokens.
If you don't mind me asking, you personally, what's your personal opinion on cryptocurrency and how it's going to hopefully help humanity in the future?
Oh man, I mean, I think every technology has its benefits. It's just trying to find the right place for it. I think we're talking about that with AI. Crypto clearly upturns a lot of things that we just take for granted. So does AI. Or the status quo, right? And so I think in a lot of ways it's figuring out how to use these things effectively, how to do it in a way that is I don't know what the term I'm looking for, in a way that is helpful. Again, even with AI, it's affecting a lot of artists are feeling affected by it in terms of their creative endeavors. But I think in the end, all of these things are tools, right? And we've gone through this with the radio, the TV. Like every invention has created a certain element of pause, and then we realize, like, all right, this is how it works into how we do things on an everyday, and these are the benefits of it. And we get to see, like, all right, what are challenges around these technologies, right? And how do we mitigate any negative uses of them, and but that's a process. And I think cryptocurrency clearly has been going through that process with governments, with folks who are championing it, folks who aren't sure about it. AI is clearly there, and so as far as my feeling on it, I think it's just a matter of time, and and how those things get worked out. I don't have the answer to what those are, but it's interesting.
What inspired you to get in the field that you're in?
Well, I'm a software engineer by training.
Okay.
And even for me, like, I think of blockchain it's another tool, right? Like, blockchain is, we have NoSQL databases and everything that we do when we're trying to solve a problem. You're choosing the right tool, right? And I think blockchain and cryptocurrency have a use within specific ecosystems, and for what we're doing, right? Like, our game is blockchain, right? We're creating a blockchain game, right? So if we wanted to create this game, we would need the blockchain, right? And so, for me, I find it interesting. I like the new technology. It's a challenge to figure out, how are you going to apply these things, right? How are we going to apply AI? How are we going to apply crypto? How are we going to apply blockchain? And coming up with these ideas and working with folks on it, is something that kind of drew me in.
If you can remember back one thing that really inspired you to get into technology, just in general, like when you were younger.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, my dad worked for Bell Labs as a kid, and I was always, he was a structural engineer, an architect, and both my sister and I, he brought a computer home when I was 9 years old, and my sister and I used to program on the computer. She works at Intel now. She designs chips.
Wow.
And I ended up going to school, for computer science, and it was just something that I was around. And I would say when I talked to him about it, he's recently passed, but when I talked to him, he'd say, like, we go into work and we would have this problem we had to figure out and solve, and I loved going to work every day. He was like, I was so excited to get in that day because I knew I had a problem that I had to figure out and work with other engineers, and he was like, it wasn't work for me. It was a joy to do. And while I do a lot of other things, engineering has been something that I have found, satisfaction in. It's not my whole life, but it is something that I do find satisfaction in, and particularly for work and for all that. Like, it checks all the boxes, so it's pretty cool.
And engineering, like in specific, it's just there's so many. It's really broad. That one word.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're learners. You
Right.
know, and that's how I've approached everything. So believe it, my first degree was actually in child development,
Wow.
and I was on the way to graduating, and I was working as a waiter, and I ended up in a Borders. There was a Borders next door to the restaurant I worked in, and I discovered string theory. I was reading this book, and all I could do was trying to get my hands on different books about particle physics and string theory. And the thing that drew me to it was this concept of not really knowing, right? Like, I think we think of science and these things of like, oh, we know this, and that science, particularly when we're students in school, that there's an answer for everything. And when I was going through this book, what I was learning as I was doing this is really driving home this idea, like, we don't really know exactly. Even within science, we create new science to understand new things. And so I went back to school and I studied lunar and planetary science and computer science. And even within that, like, my experience within the department and within my classes was like, your answer just had to be close enough, right? Because you're making assumptions about certain things. And I worked with folks I was taught by folks who worked on Apollo 8 and Apollo 9, and these are the most humble people I had ever met. And you're like, wow, you worked on that? And they're like, well, we were all learning, you know, and nobody knew what we were doing when we started. And it was a process of curiosity, a process of trying things, and that really moved me. Between the time I went to school, from my first grade to second, I taught 6th and 8th grade math. So I was working with kids, some of which were comfortable doing math somewhere, and I was trying to inspire them. Like, how do you get them to understand that all people can learn this, all people can do this? And it just starts from curiosity. It starts from a desire to learn. And so, so for me, that's always been a driving aspect. If I don't know something and I want to learn it and I want to know, I pursue it. I might not be an expert at it. I might not become like, a savant at it, but I know enough, and it informs other things that I do. It informs the stuff we're doing here. You can take ideas from elsewhere, and I think it's important to kind of have a universal, view. We're all learners, and we all have the opportunity, hopefully, opportunities, but at least the capacity to explore different things, to try new things, and hopefully to fail, so that you can
Learn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Learning and amongst others, I think, is really key in the world.
Yeah.
And looking past maybe the shirt that the individual is wearing,
right,
for instance, and speaking to them, personally, and just opening up. And I feel like that is, hopefully gonna be able to help humanity in the future moving forward. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think we are our community.
Yeah.
And so I think the measure of our community is what we do for each other.
Yeah.
So I think we make a lot of things that have for entertainment value, but I think when it's all said and done, it's about each other and how we relate, and I think that's a good philosophy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. And
Absolutely.
You have a great time in this event, and welcome to Colorado.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Hey.
Thanks.